Cherokee 28 Romeo, west departures approved, runway 35, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 35, west departure, 28 Romeo.
Approaching runway 35. Entered runway 35, 4,900 feet remaining.
Okay, rechecking DG on the runway. Looking for 350, 350 set, feet off the brakes, and full power. Engine instruments are in the green. Power is available for takeoff. Airspeed indicator is alive.
Skywagon 7749.
Looking for VY at 75. And VY. And off the ground.
Skywagon 49er Alpha, runway 35, taxi via Bravo 2, then Alpha.
Okay, normal climb out at 85 miles per hour on runway heading. At 1,000, we'll make our left turn out to the west.
Traffic, 9 o'clock, 1 mile, 1,100 feet above.
Getting some, a little bit of chop up here. Nothing too serious. And coming up on 1,000.
Tacoma Tower, Skyhawk 165A Charlie.
Left turn out.
35, ready for departure.
Cessna 165 Charlie, Tacoma Tower, make a left downwind departure, runway 35, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 35, clear for takeoff off a left downwind departure. 5A Charlie.
It's a beautiful day for flying today. It's a little chilly up here. Airplane likes it. And continuing our climb. And we're planning on climbing out to 4,500 on our westbound heading. And we'll be flying along the west side of Olympic National Park. Might level off a little bit early here just to avoid some of these lower clouds that I'm seeing just ahead of us. So for now, I think I'm going to level off at 2,000. Evaluate things and climb higher when able. I checked the weather at all the airports between Tacoma Narrows and our destination. Everything's looking great. Let's level off here though at 2,000 and pull power back 2,300. Now trim. Just stay at 2,000 for now. And we'll lean for that and fuel pump off. Now we'll hold what we have. Yeah, so there's some low clouds here. We're just going to go underneath those. Then it looks really nice, pretty clear just beyond those. In fact, I'm going to dip down just a little bit here, pull the power back. Just to stay clear of those clouds. Then it looks really good beyond these. Okay, we're almost past these. Now we'll resume our climb. Adding power back in. And there off in the distance is the Olympic Mountains. And you can see the snow caps.
Up 65402, Tacoma ground, runway 35, taxi via Bravo 4, then Alpha.
At Tacoma Tower, citation 360 Tango Delta is visual 35 on our right base.
Citation 360 Tango Delta, Tacoma Tower, make a straight in, runway 35, wind 360 at 5, altimeter 3028, clear to land.
Clear land on 35 Tango Delta.
Alright, I changed my mind. I'm going to stay at 2,000 for now. There's another layer of clouds up above, out in front of us there that we're going to want to stay below those. So we're going to hold 2,000 for now.
Tacoma Tower, Belonka 28112, east to the east, 1,300. We'd like to transition southeast with hotel.
Belonka 28112, Tacoma Tower.
Lake Washington traffic, Beaver 5908, 10 points southbound.
Okay, just switch frequencies from Tacoma Tower over to CTAP. This is a CTAP frequency for multiple airports between here and our destination airport on the just on the west side of the Olympic National Park. Now, one thing I'm not sure is how to pronounce the name of this airport. It looks like Quillayute. We'll go with that. Quillayute is our destination today. And the pattern altitude there is 1,200. I have the ASOS in standby, 135.225. CTAP frequency, 122.9 is in the active. And we're picking a route that's going to kind of keep us away from the mountains there. Just going to come around the south side of the mountains and then start heading northwest.
We're well above you, tracking you. It looks like a helicopter.
Great day for flying. Air temperature right now where we are is 30 degrees. Nice low density altitude with the cool air and the higher pressure air over us. Altimeter right now is 3029er. Another one of those wispy cloud layers we're just going to pass underneath, and it looks like there's another one up ahead of that. Beyond that, I don't see any. It looks like high clouds, 12,000 or better, after that second layer of clouds that you can see off in the distance there. Yeah, that's a beautiful sight, those mountains. So today we're going to land at two airports that we haven't been into before, and that's going to be for our Fly Washington Passport program.
Camino air traffic, Sky Lane, 61 Tango, just over top of Camino, simulated in and out, Camino.
Okay, we're on our course. This lake is 27 nautical miles, and I set it to a waypoint, let's see, which called Midlock, and then from that waypoint I set another waypoint called Wapto, and then from Wapto direct to the airport. All right, bearing 258. We're coming right a little bit here.
0 Kilo Alpha is I-5, Green Lake 1800, landing south number 2.
Speed over ground is 120, so we have a slight tailwind. There you can see some of those cloud layers kind of laying in there. And that should burn off as the day progresses.
5908, I-5 bridge, west south Lake Union.
I'm steering deliberately left of course here. There's our course line. But I'm going to stay a little bit left. I just want to stay to the just to the left of that mountain range there, that ridge. And we could fly over it, but you usually have winds where there are mountains, and if we can stay out of that, we will.
Ocean Shores traffic, Cessna 12110, entering the downwind for runway 15, Ocean Shores.
There's a guy all the way out at the coast. I know the weather's good out there. I checked weather at Hoquiam, which we're going to be passing just north of. And its cloud ceilings are 12,000, and that's what I'm expecting once I get kind of past these this little layer of clouds up ahead here. Now we can start climbing up. we should have enough fuel for the round trip, but if we are uncomfortable with our fuel levels when we land, I'm going to go ahead and fly into Hoquiam on the return flight. Just going to enrich in the mixture there, looking at the exhaust gas temperature gauge. These are just little wispy clouds here that are burning off as the air warms up and absorbs that moisture out of the air. Not going to get super warm today. Outside air temperature is right now about 29 degrees Fahrenheit.
Ocean Shores traffic system 12110, turning final for runway 15, Ocean Shores. Ocean Shores traffic 068 Delta X-ray, 4 miles to the east, and we'll enter 45 for 15, Ocean Shores.
I have the winterization plate on the oil cooler just to keep that oil temperature as high as I can get it, given the weather conditions. We had to troubleshoot a fuel leak in the fuel sump. All it required was remove the safety wire and tighten the tensioning nut on the sump cylinder to put a little bit more pressure on the gasket. And I checked it this morning. I did that last night, and I checked it this morning, pulling power back a little bit just to stay underneath this little wispy layer here of clouds. Checked it this morning and there was no sign of fuel, so it looks like we're good to go there. I'll recheck it, of course, on the ground when we get down to our destination. A little bit of bumps there with these clouds adjacent to our flight path here. Okay, now we're going to hit full power and go ahead and climb up. Do a cruise climb at 100 miles per hour. Get trim for that.
Ocean Shores traffic 068 Delta X-ray, left base 15, and turn line.
There, we're looking at our airspeed indicator. We're trimming for 100 for a cruise climb. Now there's Sanderson Field. Their DTAF frequency is 122.8. Go ahead and switch over to that. 122.8. Just to see if there's any parachute activity going on over there. There you can see the airport at our 11 o'clock. There is a parachute outfit base there, and they often do jumps. When they do them on the north side of the airport, which we're passing by right now. So we want to make sure that we're well clear of that activity, if there is any.
Skyhawk 10.
Now we're going to climb to 4,500.
54 Charlie, 5 miles to the southeast, setting up for 45, right, downwind for 5, Sanderson.
There's a guy coming into Sanderson Field right now. I see him. He's 800 feet below and at our 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Okay, there's 3,000, passing 3,500, looking for 4,500. Yeah, it looks super clear out to the west. There's just a little bit of cloud activity in this area.
Auburn traffic 120 limits, crosswind 34, Auburn.
I landed there, I don't know, it's been 2 months ago, and they had the main runway closed, and the taxiway down there, if you can see it, the taxiway just to the right, or just to the north of the runway there, was being used as the runway on that day.
Sanderson traffic, Cessna 9254 Charlie, 3 miles southeast on a
45 for the right downwind.
Coming up on 4,500, go ahead and level out. And complete our cruise
Auburn
checklist.
traffic, Cessna 120 limits, downwind 34, close traffic, Auburn.
All right, leveling off. Bringing the power back to 2,300 RPMs. All right. Let it trim. And lean a little bit for the higher altitude. We'll go ahead and turn our landing light off. Fuel pump's already on. We're set to the fullest tank, 17 minutes remaining before we switch tanks. There's a nice view of the Olympic Mountains.
Sanderson traffic, Cessna 9254 Charlie, downwind of 05. Right traffic.
Okay, level at 4,500. Check the altimeter at Sanderson Field.
Sanderson traffic, Sky 4358 Romeo is 5 miles to
3026.
the east. We will be maneuvering for a
That's
45 for the right downwind for runway 5, Sanderson.
All right. A little bit of activity down there.
Auburn traffic, Cessna 120 limits, base 34, Auburn.
Absolutely gorgeous day. I couldn't resist when I looked at the weather forecast yesterday and then I checked it again this morning. Checked the weather at all points between our departure and destination airports. And everything was showing VFR conditions, 10 mile or better visibility, cloud ceilings 12,000. Now what's not to like about that? Nice smooth air here. It's a little bumpy as we were passing by some of those low cloud layers, but it's super smooth right now.
We'll be doing a full stop, Sanderson.
Now along the coast, it's a protected wildlife area, and you're requested to remain at least 2,000 AGL. So we're going to fly over that area at about 3,000, just along the coastline there. And that's protected area all the way up to our destination airport.
Sanderson traffic, Sky 58 Romeo is 2 miles to the southeast, maneuvering for the 45 for the right downwind runway 5, Sanderson.
There you can see some clear-cut areas in that mountain. Those bald spots where they go in and harvest trees and then replant. And then they build roadways just for log extraction. And once they're done, the roads stay there. Makes for some good four-wheeling. Here's another look at the Olympic Mountains. That doesn't get any smoother than this. You can't ask for better. 8 to go. To our waypoint of Mid-Lock, and then we're going to turn slightly north and on a northwest heading.
A beam midfield for a full stop landing on runway 5, Sanderson.
So yesterday I flew into Bremerton and I did post the YouTube video of it. There were several people in the pattern, maybe 4 people in the pattern. The guy in front of me did his touch and go, and I was on final coming in. I did my touch and go, so he was pretty good ways ahead of me. Then I noticed that he was slowing down and wasn't climbing very fast. I continued my climb. I was getting ready to do a right turnout for a eastbound departure to return to Tacoma Narrows, and yeah, I was actually gaining on him, so I became a little bit concerned. I continued my climb up to my cruise altitude, which was only 2,500. And then the guy did a 180-degree turn to the left. Didn't expect that because we were in a right traffic pattern. He was doing the touch and go, so that would have been the normal thing to do. But I was looking at my ADS-B, and then I saw this guy do a left turn, a 180, directly toward me. I had 1,000 feet above him at that point, so I wasn't overly concerned. And then he announced that he was making an emergency landing on the opposing runway, which was runway 20. Took off of runway 2 and was making an emergency landing on runway 20. I posted a video of that. He made it in okay, without issue. But that was definitely something different. Here I'm seeing some traffic up ahead, 800 feet above us, and he's heading toward the waypoint that we're heading for, Mitlock. He shouldn't be a factor, but we'll keep an eye out. Now we have 12 minutes left on the left hand. We'll switch over. And 4 nautical miles to Mitlock. I'm not precisely following my course lines here. I'm more looking out at the terrain and choosing my direction based on what I'm seeing out there. And that traffic should be no factor. He's on almost a 90-degree heading to our heading, so he's coming across from left to right. Shouldn't be a factor. Well above us. We're keeping an eye out for him. Pretty good ways out. He's doing 117 knots on heading 042. He's at 5,175 feet, and he's 3.8 nautical miles from us. All that information comes from your ADS-B. Pretty amazing stuff. And here I'm just taking a look at our profile for the mountains that are ahead of us, just to make sure that we have more than enough clearance there. Coming up on Mitlock. We're going to fly over some of these mountains here to the left, the lower elevation mountains. That air traffic is now at our 2 o'clock. Don't know if we're going to see him. Coming to our 3 o'clock. And we're just about at Mitlock, which is actually a GPS waypoint. Or IFR flight. We're just going to lean a tiny bit there, looking at the EGT. There's a nice view of the Olympic Mountains. Those whitecaps will stay around for some time, all the way into early summer. Makes for a beautiful view from the airport watching the sunset behind the Olympics off to the west. Okay, we're doing 112 over ground, showing about 110 indicated. So there's really none, wind's not really a factor. Now we'll be coming up to a military operations area, the Olympic MOA, and that runs from 6,000 to 17,999. So that won't be a factor, we'll be going underneath it. But we could fly through it without approval from the controlling authority, because it's an MOA and not a restricted area. So that won't be a factor for us. Okay, there you can see, maybe you can see it. That's our profile of our flight path. Basically whatever's off the nose. The ForeFlight's looking at that, and it's telling us if we have adequate clearance above the terrain that's in front of us, based on our flight path and altitude. So the terrain is not a factor for us. And 7 minutes left on the left tank. We'll switch over. We started with 19 gallons on the left, and there's 13 on the right. And I set the timer for 45 minutes. That's about 6 gallons, so that should bring the left tank down to 13. And then we'll go on the right tank for 30 minutes. That'll bring it down to 9. And then we'll switch back over to the left tank for 30 minutes. Bring that one down to 9. There's a beautiful lake nestled there between the mountains. See if I can get the name of that. It is Quillayute Lake. Quillayute Lake. That's elevation 800 feet. There's some snow right down there below us. Like a radar station, microwave dish. Right there on the top of that mountain. There's Quillayute Lake. We'll be flying right over the top of these mountains that you can see right in front of us. Again, looking at the profile view here on our ForeFlight, and they do not appear to be a factor at all. It would highlight them in yellow if we were going to be anywhere close to them on our present heading and altitude, but they're green, solid green. That's always a good sign. Of course, they would be red if that's terrain that you would collide with on your present heading and altitude. So we're basically skirting the Olympic mountain range to the south and then to the west. Our fuel economy should be a little better up here at 4,500 feet, since we're leaning the mixture, using less fuel. And we're planning on flying the same route on our return flight. I'm only going to record the one way. Go ahead and turn on our glide advisor. Always good to have that on. That's going to show us where we would be able to glide based on the airplane performance profile if we were to lose engine power. Not a lot of real hospitable places here in the mountains. Clear cut, maybe, But those aren't a good place to land either because they're full of tree stumps and slash cut. And there certainly are no airports below us. Most likely we'd head back toward that lake and try to land in a clear-cut area. But it wouldn't be fun. It would not be a fun landing. But it's always good to be mindful of what you would do in the event you did have an emergency so you don't get caught short. And we're doing 113 over ground. And bearing to next is 272 degrees magnetic, 22 nautical miles. I'm considering, not 100% because it's really expensive equipment, but upgrading the heading indicator to a G5 to a digital, a GPS-based heading indicator. Still undecided on that, but that would be a nice upgrade. Some people do both the heading indicator and the attitude indicator. You no longer require a vacuum pump in the airplanes. You have no more vacuum instruments. In that event, you're operating all GPS. So if I were to turn this airplane to the right over there, you would see then, if I change to this profile view right here, all of this would turn red. Those mountains are well above our present altitude. Now if you look over there, some of them are 7,788, so you have 8,000, 5,000. Definitely, you'd have to be flying above there at about, probably would fly over those at 8,500 and avoid the taller peaks. But again, you end up picking up a lot of wind off the mountains, and there's no point in that if you can pick calmer, smoother air. Why not?
Traffic, 7 o'clock, 1 mile, same altitude.
Alright, looking for that. Guys behind us. No, that's... Yeah, every now and then that happens. I'm not sure the reason. It's ghosting. That's basically a ghost image. If you see it right there, that's us. And it disappeared. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what causes that. Like basically seeing your own airplane. And ForeFlight's treating it as a traffic alert. There you can see some radio towers down below on that mountain peak down there, and then we're coming to some flatlands with a lake up here to the left, and that is, let's see what that lake is, Lake Quillayute, Lake Quillayute, and that is 186 feet above sea level. And there you can see the Pacific Ocean. I mean, it's hard to make out, I'm sure in this, there's our timer. I'm going to reset that. 30 minutes on the right tank. And that's set, and switch it. And we're on the right tank. Okay, we're 17 miles from our next waypoint. And bearing 273. 273. A little bit of chop as we pass into the flatlands from the mountain area. There you can see a little bit of bounce happening. And there's some houses and other buildings down there along the side of that lake. 15 to go to our next waypoint. Then after that, the next waypoint is the airport. And showing 119 over ground. Not too shabby. Going back to this airport so I can remember how to pronounce it. Quillayute. And the runways are 04 and 220. Showing winds variable right now. Might end up overflying that airport just to see what the winds are doing down there. And the pattern altitude there is 1193. I'm going to switch over to that CTAP, which is 122.9. To go to Wapto. Here I'm looking at some smoke on the ground. Somebody may be doing a burn. And the very little wind, it appears very little wind on the ground. Of course, this isn't necessarily what it's going to be at our destination. Pretty good ways out there, but it's indicating that it's coming from the south, but it's very, very minimal. And there's a layer of clouds over the mountains there. Not a factor for us. We're going to be well clear of that. Here you can see our ammeter. So whenever a load is placed on the battery, the ammeter is going to show a charge based on that load. So what you see there as it's dancing is going to be our strobe and our beacon, both of which are pulsing. So they're intermittently drawing current. Whenever they place a demand on the generator, it's showing a charge. Whenever you see that dancing around, that's a good thing. That means your generator is working properly. That's one of the checklist items on your run-up. Oil temp's running a little lower than I'd like it to be, but there's nothing I can do about it. I have the winterization plate in place. I'd like it to run up around 180, but again, I can't control that. There's nothing more I can do other than install the winterization plate, which really just blocks air from going through the oil cooler. So then the engine's relying on the ram air flowing over the top of the engine past your engine baffling. Starting a gradual descent down to 3,000. Then we'll maintain 3,000 along the coastline. Again, that's a protected area. It says flight operations below 2,000 AGL over the designated areas within the Olympic Coast National Marine Sanctuary violates NOAA regulations. We're going to stay well above that, so that shouldn't be a factor for us. again, that burn down there, if you can see it with the wide angle, is showing winds from the south. I'm going to check the winds at Hoquiam. Showing 110 at 12. Now that agrees really more or less with what we're seeing there. Really coming from the southeast. East-southeast 110. Generally speaking, we probably can expect land runway 4. It remains to be seen. We'll see. And we're coming up on our waypoint here. It's 5.4 miles. And the ocean looks nice and calm today. We're at 3,500, looking for 3,000. Yeah, that smoke does look like it's coming from about 110, 120-ish. Expecting a crosswind on landing. .2 from our waypoint, which is the Wapto intersection. Showing 110 over ground and 107 indicated. And once we reach the coast, we're just going to follow that all the way up. 1.9. Now all the area there along the coast is all protected. That's why we're staying more than 2,000 AGL to comply with the restriction. Technically not a restriction per se, it's a request. So I'm now just generally following our course line, but not specifically. We're 30 miles now from the airport. Quillayute. 1,200 in the pattern. Let's see if we can get there, ASOS.
0.01 Celsius. Altimeter 3027. Remarks. Density altitude -900. Quillayute State Airport. Automated weather observation 1920 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 08 Celsius. Dew point 01 Celsius. Altimeter 3027.
Okay, that's good news. They're reporting winds calm. Surprises me a little bit based on what we're seeing here, but I'll take it. We'll listen to it again as we get a little closer. We're now 29 out. 18 minutes on the right tank. That's all protected area down there. Don't see any, won't see any developments or homes along the coastline. There are some homes in the interior here, but not out there along the coast. I do see some pockets of houses, but again, they're on the east side of the protected area. Nothing on the water, nothing on the coast. 27 to go. And at 10 out, we'll announce our position and intentions, and then begin our descent down to pattern altitude of 1,200. And we're going to pay careful attention to stay clear of that protected area as we approach the airport, because it's pretty close. It's just to the west of the airport. Just soaking in the views as we fly along the coast here. A little bit of chop up here. Not too bad. Minutes on the right tank. That should about get us to the airport, and then we'll switch over to the left. And then I'm going to plan on flying to Hoquiam and refuel there on the return. To go. Put the heat on here. It's already on, I'm just increasing it a little bit. Showing about 29 degrees Fahrenheit out there right now. 22 to go. Looks like there is a roadway that you can access. Yeah, there's definitely a road down there that you can drive along the coast. There's some parking areas I can see below as well. That's something that we kind of need to do one day, drive along there. To go.
Destination ASOS is 135.225.
Yeah, we're going to listen to that again here.
Observation 1926 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 08.
That wind's still calm. There's a lighthouse out on that island that you can see out there. Probably can't see it with the wide-angle view, but that little island, there's a lighthouse to the left side there, just to the south end of the island. Tank showing 12 minutes on right tank. Again, we should be landing right about the time we're ready to switch tanks over to the left side. Should be 13 gallons remaining in the left. Fuel management is something you have to take real seriously, and particularly in this airplane, which got 2 tanks, and you have to manage switching between the tanks at intervals. I do it every 30 minutes. There have been airplane accidents based on fuel exhaustion when someone had a perfectly full tank. They just forgot to switch over. That sure is pretty up there. Again, the wide angle view may not do it any justice, but there's multiple rock formations out in the water there. Really cool sight. You might be able to see the other airport I'm planning on flying into, which is Forks. It's just going to be southwest, this side, and west of our destination airport, and I'm planning on going there right after I leave Quillayute. And we're 15 out. It's just some scattered clouds that you can see out there off to the right. That won't be a factor for us. I'm going to start a nice gentle descent down to about 2,000. Announce our position and intentions here in about 4 miles. There's some of those rock formations I was referring to. right down below there off the left side. Not hearing any traffic down there, and I don't see anything on my ADSB for either airport, either Quillayute or Forks. Listen to ASOS again.
30 Zulu. Wind variable at 03. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 08 Celsius.
Okay, so there's 3 knot winds and they're variable. So for now I'm planning landing runway 22. So I'll enter on the left downwind for runway 22. And we're 12 out. Gonna level off here. For now. Now we're just east of the protected area, so we can descend without concern about getting into that protected area. That could be the airport at about 11 o'clock. Can't tell from here, but there's definitely a clear area that you can see running. Approximately 0422. Quillayute traffic, Cherokee 7428 Romeo is 10 southeast. Full stop, Quillayute. Going to continue descending here. I'm steering slightly right again to remain clear of that wildlife area. There's a better look at those rock formations I was referring to earlier. Might not have been able to see. Okay, pre-landing checklist. We're going to turn our fuel pump on and set mixture to full rich. We're set to the fullest tank. We'll switch tanks here. Well, I'll probably not switch at this point. Quillayute traffic, Turkey 742 Romeo is now 8 southeast. Inbound for full stop, Quillayute. I still don't have a sure visual on the airport since I'm not familiar with the airport. When you're familiar with the airport, you know the landmarks and what to look for. And when you're not, you gotta wait, generally speaking, to get closer, particularly in an area that's heavily forested like this. I have at 12 o'clock what I think is the airport, but not 100%. There is a long building that resembles a hangar in an area that is cut that resembles an airport. But we'll know here as we get closer. A little bit of bumps coming off the ridges. This in 8 is again.
5 Zulu. Wind variable at 03. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 08 Celsius. Dew point 01 Celsius. Altimeter 3027.
All right. No change. Quillayute traffic, Turkey 7428 Romeo is 5 southeast. We'll be entering the left downwind for runway 22, full stop Quillayute. Alright, we're all set up for our landing. Checklist is complete. We're clear of the wilderness affected area. And descending down to pattern altitude of 1,200. I do have the airport in sight. It's at 12 o'clock. And we'll be entering on the 45 for a left downwind runway 22. That's a pretty little valley down there with the river running through it down to the ocean with those rock formations. Very pretty sight. Again, that is for certain the airport. Quillayute traffic, Turkey 7428 Romeo is now 2.5 to the southeast. We'll be entering on the 45 for left downwind, runway 22, full stop Quillayute. Quillayute traffic, Turkey 7428 Romeo is on left downwind for runway 22, full stop Quillayute. Okay, we're at pattern altitude. We are in the downwind. And rolling out right there. And we're going to begin our descent. Setting our first notch of flaps at 10 degrees. And looking for the 45. Right. Quillayute traffic, Cherokee 7428 Romeo, turning left base. Runway 22, full stop Quillayute. And rolling out. Second notch flaps, 20 degrees set.
500.
That's a nice looking runway. Quillayute traffic, Cherokee 28 Romeo's turning final runway 22, full stop Quillayute. That runway looks like it's in great shape. And setting final notch of flaps, 40 degrees. Aiming for the numbers. 80 degrees, or 80 miles per hour on final. Slight crosswind C. Correcting for that. And power back. On the ground. Flaps retrieve. Now we'll turn out right here. That pretty little airport. Great location. Leaning for taxi fuel pump off. Now the challenge is always finding where the passport stamp is located. Most likely in that blue building over. No airplanes in sight. All right, I'm going to shut it down right here. Well, after all that flying, it turns out they didn't have the passport stamp after all. They had the mailbox, but it didn't contain the stamp. But that's okay. We got to fly over the Olympic Mountains and Olympic National Park over to the Pacific Coast. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope to see you again next time.